back, Veg Peeps. So for this week's video, I'm going to be doing a fresh take on an old favorite, and that is candy cane. So for this week's video, I've pulled together some old footage that I had from when I did my veganic haul. And here you can see I've got all these fresh vegetables, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do with them. So I'm going to pull the beets first, and these, as mentioned, are candy cane beets. And so it just kind of came to me, you know, what's fresh, variable, you could do a whole lot of different things with, but still keep, you know, the candy cane beet, the vegetable, the center of the dish. And so I came up with candy cane bruschetta, or, you know, candy cane beet bruschetta. But for now, we'll just call it candy cane bruschetta. So here I am just going ahead and peeling the beets and just getting those skins and tops off. And you can tell by the way I'm doing this that I'm really looking at the beet, seeing how the lines kind of go. In some, you know, they just kind of go different ways. And, you know, if you're going to be really showing that beet and not boiling it off too much, which when you roast it, you will retain a lot of the lines. It actually, to me, kind of looks like cooked tuna of sorts, or raw tuna, rather, when it's done, if you maintain, you know, the integrity of the lines. So you see me kind of moving it a bit, looking at the pieces and just kind of admiring it. This is definitely one of those vegetables where you're just amazed at how beautiful nature can be. So now that I've got them chopped up into probably about 1 inch by 1 inch pieces, not too big, but again, not too small because you don't want to lose that detail. I'm just going to go ahead and lay them on a pan with parchment paper. And you can tell this video was actually recorded a couple years ago because I no longer use that white parchment paper. But just shake them down so you get a nice even layer and you can get a good roast on them. Here I am going to sprinkle a little olive oil. Since you do use olive oil in bruschetta, I won't add any later, and I'll just leave it here so that it doesn't get too greasy. But definitely it'll maintain a little bit of that shine and shimmer in that oil for the actual bruschetta. And then I'm just going ahead and salt and peppering it, and then I'm adding on some seasonings that I might do in a typical bruschetta. Now I've got my oven set to 425, and I'm just going to go ahead and pop those in the oven for about 15 to 25 minutes. You'll just have to watch and see how fast they cook up. It'll depend on how much you chop them. But just go ahead and, you know, give them a good taste, and when they're soft and delicious and have a nice crunchy crust, then they're good. Then you can take some beautiful plum tomatoes. I like to use different colors so that I can get a nice variety, and chop those into the same 1 inch slices. And then in video time, the bruschetta is done, so go ahead and pull that out of the oven and add it to the bowl of tomatoes. And while that's kind of just settling in, cooling a bit, softening those tomatoes, you can go ahead and chop some fresh basil and add that right to the top. I'm going to go ahead and salt the fresh basil and maybe add a little more peppercorn medley type of pepper to it, just to make sure that all of my layers are seasoned. I didn't add anything to the tomatoes, so now's a good time. It's also a good time to add in that fresh chopped garlic. I prefer to use the chopped garlic that comes in jars. I just find that that's most delicious. And that's basically it. You've got olive oil, fresh basil, some chopped garlic, a little salt, pepper, you know, just a few tomatoes, and some beautiful candy cane beets, and you've got a really beautiful dish that people are just going to look at and wonder, what is that, and, you know, how does that taste? And they're definitely just going to want to give that a good plop in the mouth. So I highly recommend that, you know, you really intrigue their senses and tastes, and just kind of say, hey, I've got some candy cane bruschetta, and give it a go. I think you can add a little bowl of this to a charcuterie board, you know, so when people are topping their crackers or little breads, they can see how complex and beautiful you know, these beets and bruschetta can be, the beets give it just a nice depth and complexity, because you're not expecting that with the bruschetta. And it's just going to hit their palate in, you know, different ways. It's really going to, you know, pop and intrigue those senses. And you can definitely, you know, serve this in the middle of a couple slices of your favorite baguette or bread to have as like a sandwich. You could also make, as I did, a nice baguette, a veganic baguette with some veganic flour, and just slice that, you know, add a little olive oil, some garlic, some salt, and serve that alongside of it as an appetizer to the next pasta dish that you'll be having. Or you can just plop this over a bed of greens and have it as a nice salad topper. One thing I like to do is take the packet of Follow Your Heart provolone. It's slices of some really delicious provolone cheese, and I like to chop it up as though it's a block of cheese, so you get these tall little stacks, and just kind of mix that into a salad. It kind of adds that almost Cobb salad-esque kind of cheese to it, and it's just gonna maybe hit the palate more like, you know, your traditional bruschetta, which has some Parmesan. But again, you could use a Parmesan cheese, sprinkle that over it. There's just so many ways to work this. It's just one of those things that's going to hit, you know, the palate really nicely and just taste so good. So you can do pretty much anything. So go ahead and give that a shot, Veg Peeps, and let me know what you think and how it goes over this holiday season. What you think of my candy cane bruschetta. All right, take care, Veg Peeps. Bye.